everyone, and welcome back to English Root. I'm really happy that you are here with me today, and I want to say thank you for choosing this podcast as part of your learning journey. Today's episode is a little longer than usual, so I hope you can take your time, find a comfortable position, maybe sit quietly or lie down, and allow yourself to simply listen without pressure or expectations. Today I want to talk about something very simple, but very powerful. We are going to talk about small habits and how they can slowly change the way you learn English, the way you see progress, and even the way you see yourself. This episode is inspired by a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book does not talk about big, dramatic changes. Instead, it reminds us that real change usually comes from very small actions that we repeat consistently over time. Many people feel overwhelmed when learning English. It can feel like a huge mountain that is impossible to climb, and sometimes just thinking about grammar, vocabulary, or speaking makes us feel tired before we even start. But what if learning English didn't have to feel heavy? What if progress didn't require stress, long study hours, or perfection? That is the question we will explore together today. So, as you listen, try to relax your body, slow down your breathing, and remind yourself that this is a safe place to learn, to reflect, and to grow. One of the most important ideas in Atomic Habits is something called the 1% rule. And this idea completely changes the way we think about progress. The 1% rule means that you do not need to improve your English perfectly or quickly. You do not need to suddenly understand everything, speak fluently, or use advanced vocabulary. Instead, you only need to become slightly better than you were yesterday. If today you learn one new word, that is progress. If today you listen to English for a few minutes, that is progress. Even if today you only understand one sentence from this podcast, that is still progress. The problem is that many learners believe that improvement must be big and visible. They think that if they are not speaking fluently, then they are failing. But this way of thinking is very dangerous, because it makes learning feel stressful and disappointing. James Clear explains that small improvements may feel meaningless at first, but when they are repeated every day, they create massive results over time. Improving by just 1% every day may not feel exciting, but after 1 year, those small improvements can make you many times better than before. Learning English is not about doing a lot in one day. It is about doing a little every day, even when you feel tired, even when you feel unmotivated, and even when progress feels invisible. At this point, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on this idea, because it can completely change your learning journey if you allow it to. There is a story in Atomic Habits that beautifully explains the power of small improvements, and I want to share it with you because it connects very naturally to learning English. For many years, the British cycling team was not successful. In fact, for almost a century, they were known for losing competitions and failing to win important races. People believed that they simply were not talented enough. Everything changed when a new coach arrived. Instead of trying to fix everything at once, he focused on improving very small details. He adjusted the bike seats to make them more comfortable, improved the quality of sleep by changing pillows and mattresses, and even paid attention to simple things like hygiene to reduce illness. At the time, many people thought these changes were silly and unnecessary. They believed that success only came from intense training and dramatic strategies. However, after several years of consistent small improvements, the British cycling team became one of the most successful teams in the world. This story teaches us something very important. Success is often the result of small actions done consistently, not one big change. Your English learning journey works in the same way. You do not need to master grammar or memorize thousands of words right now. Instead, you can focus on small habits, such as listening to English for a few minutes a day, repeating one sentence, or writing a short note in English. Those small habits may feel unimportant, but over time, they create real confidence and real ability. Now, I would like us to practice speaking together in a very calm and supportive way. This is not about sounding perfect or fast. This is simply about allowing your mouth and brain to get used to English. I will say a sentence, and I invite you to repeat it slowly, in your own time, without rushing or worrying about mistakes. I am building a healthy habit of learning English, and I allow myself to grow at my own pace. I understand that small steps are still meaningful steps, and I trust the process of slow progress. I do not need to be perfect in order to improve, because consistency matters more than perfection. Every day I am becoming slightly more confident in using English, even if I do not notice it immediately. Now, let us try a longer reflection together. I choose to practice English today because I care about my future, and I believe that small efforts will slowly create big changes in my life. Take a deep breath and notice how it feels to speak English calmly and without pressure. One of the most powerful lessons in Atomic Habits is the idea that real change happens when we change the way we see ourselves. Many people say, "I am trying to learn English," and while that sounds harmless, it keeps English at a distance. Instead, James Clear encourages us to say, "I am an English speaker." When you see yourself as an English speaker, you stop waiting for permission to speak. You accept that mistakes are part of the journey, and you continue even when you feel unsure. You do not need perfect grammar or advanced vocabulary to be an English speaker. If you are listening, practicing, and using the language in any way, then you already are one. Take a quiet moment now, and simply listen as I describe a very simple daily routine in English, allowing the words to flow naturally without effort. Today, I wake up slowly, I drink water, I check my phone, and I spend a few minutes listening to English, reminding myself that learning does not have to be rushed or stressful. As we come to the end of this episode, I want to thank you for staying with me and giving yourself this time to learn and reflect. Today, we talked about the power of small habits, the importance of consistency, and the idea that you are already an English speaker simply by showing up and practicing. The time you spent listening today is not wasted. It is a small investment in your future, and those small investments add up over time. If this episode helped you, please consider subscribing to English Root, because your support allows this space to continue growing. Before you go, I invite you to think about one small action you can take tomorrow, just 1% better than today. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Stay kind to yourself, keep it simple, and keep going.